Good morning, Joanne.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining me.
I feel like a special guest on CNN right now.
When we bring you live from Ottawa, Canada. But it's easier if I just pretend that we're just chatting on the phone. That's what I need to do. That's what I need to do. To try to do this a little more naturally. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm so tired. Do I look tired? Remember, you know how people often say, you look tired, and it's like the biggest insult ever, but it's okay because I do.
You're like, I feel tired.
Our baby is going through, I don't know, 6-month sleep regression. Apparently it's a thing. So we've been Googling everything. It's funny. Every single time we have a kid, this is our third child. And every time we have a kid, I forget everything and I have to re-Google everything.
Oh no.
And so I'm like, how do you make a kid sleep through the night? I don't know how.
Is it encouraging to you when other people contact you for like advice? Do you like that? Like, do you feel like, oh, they think I have something to offer?
Maybe sometimes. And then I fumble my way through and they're like, maybe they second guess why they contacted me. So
do you think other parents actually just need to hear, we have no idea what we're doing either?
Probably. Sometimes
I feel like that's what parents really want to hear. No, we make it up as we go along.
Yes. And it's not helpful when someone's like, oh, I just do this and this and this. This worked perfectly for me. You're like, nice robot kid you got there. Anyway.
So hopefully our sound is coming through okay. I don't know. But if it's not coming through okay, hopefully somebody will let us know. But this reading today, it's on getting needs met.
So Josh was going to read it with me, and then I said, no, I'm not allowed to see this before I talk to you about this.
No, it's called Getting Needs Met. The director, the producer of our show, put the title. So we're going to read actually March 30th. And what's it called? Experiment. Oh, he thinks that one's going to be way more fun for us. He has selected a special reading for you and I to do together.
Feels like a trap.
No pressure, Joanne. No pressure. No, it's just hard to know what day it is. So today we're going to pretend we're going to swap them. So today we'll do March 30th. Experiment. Try something new. Try stepping out. We have been held back too long. We have held ourselves back too long. As children, many of us were deprived of the right to experiment. Many of us are depriving ourselves of the right to experiment and learn as adults. Now is the time to experiment. It is an important part of recovery. Let yourself try things. Let yourself try something new. Yes, you will make mistakes, but from those mistakes, you can learn what your values are. Some things we just won't like. That's good. Then we'll know a little bit more about who we are and what we don't like. Some things we will like. They will work with our values. They will work with who we are. And we will discover something important and life-enriching. There is a quiet time in recovery, a time to stand still and heal, a time to give ourselves a cooling off time. This is a time of introspection and healing. It is an important time. We deal with our issues. There also comes a time when it is equally important to experiment, to begin to test the water. Recovery does not equal abstention from life. Recovery means learning to live and learning to live fully. Recovery means exploration, investigation, and experimentation. Recovery means being done with the rigid, shame-based rules from the past and formulating healthy values based on self-love, love for others, and living in harmony with this world. Experiment. Try something new. Maybe you won't like it. Maybe you'll make a mistake. Maybe you will like it. And maybe you'll discover something you love. Today, I will give myself permission to experiment in life. I will stop rigidly holding myself back, and I will jump in when jumping in feels right. God, help me let go of my need to deprive myself of being alive.
Okay.
Can you resonate with any of that?
Well, if I look at this, technically, I'm not in the experimental stage. I'm technically in the standing still, quiet time, giving myself a cooling off time, introspection and healing. dealing with my issues.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. I feel like that's been my last year. And I knew that that's what was happening too. Like I needed, and I'm glad the larger world around me cooperated. I just needed to like pull back from a lot of stuff. I needed to I needed a time of introspection, and to give myself a cooling off time. Yeah, I think that that's like really significant, which I feel for me, it's weird because like I've been in recovery, like around recovery for so long. So I have to like shake off the shame about that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that like it is true. I think that when you go, I often think of like recovery, there's such a pendulum swing that kind of can happen. And I've heard it's like kind of natural to happen of like you go from like maybe a place of like lots of or no boundaries and all of a sudden you're like hyper boundary because you're like, I've never had these before. I really, really need these. And you make mistakes in that realm too. But I think that like it kind of reminds me of this too. Sometimes I think in recovery, it can also mean some rigidness perhaps. And I know it says that you're being done with it, but I guess maybe it's not being rigid. I'm trying to think of it, but like I've had to really make sure that I slow down. And it's been very much a gift because I have some significant work to do. And that work is emotional and that work is intense and it like makes me really raw and I'm not able to, I think, function well in most spaces. When someone asks me, how are you doing? It's like, oof. I have to also be like somewhat calculated. Sometimes it feels like how I even respond to that because I don't want to open a can of worms with just anyone because it's not helpful for me, probably not helpful for them. They don't need to hear all that. I don't think. Would you agree or disagree?
I would say the thing that comes to mind though is that actually you are someone though who, when I read this, like I feel like you do experiment though. You do implement, you have already implemented things into your life to like it's so I think that there's like an extreme, not extreme, but that's a common thing that codependency means that your entire life has been like ruled by other people and that you haven't actually like explored who you are or what you like or what you want to do or what brings joy into your life. And I would say that that's actually something that you're really good at. Even like baking bread and like experimenting with like sourdough bread. That's something that you have really started in last year. And I think I've seen that it like brings you joy. And so I think that that's kind of like encouraging. And then so then I started I was like, oh, I want to try kayaking. And like I knew that I needed some fun, like I knew that I was doing this work and that it was like heavy, exactly what you talked about. And it was hard. And like most of the time I just wanted to cry and like not face people. And then John bought me an electric scooter for my birthday. because every time we drive through downtown, I would beg him to stop and rent the scooters again. And we'd already spent like over $100 on scooters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's true. Like, I think that like, maybe it's where I'm at right now in terms of like, I feel like I'm really in the thick of it going through my step 4. But I joked probably even yesterday. I think sometimes it's like I'm codependent, but I like to think of myself more as an excitaholic because I do the exciting things. And I like extreme things and excitement. And but that actually brings chaos to people. So I would be the person that's on the extreme end of things. I think I needed to learn how to slow down because I would go a mile a minute and then I would go into a big crash, recover, and then start all over again. And that's not helpful for me or anyone around me. I think experimenting with new things is good. And also maybe the renewal of old things that maybe weren't so helpful, but maybe God wants to restore and bring more into alignment with him. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what for you, like test the water might mean like, what does it look like to live a life that's not so overscheduled? test the water of like what, we're kind of testing the water of like new routines, testing the water of like, I think you started running last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, it's like,
well, kind of, and then I got pregnant.
and then you got pregnant. Oh yeah. It was 2 years ago.
Was
And
it?
then,
Oh
yeah.
man.
Wasn't it your what did you run, a 10K? 5K?
Yeah. Oh no, a child found his, how do you know how to open up the lock? Got a key. You got a key? Oh my gosh. Sorry guys. So this is my sick child.
I think the key is like where they talk about being done with the rigid shame-based rules from the past and formulating healthy values based on self-love, love for others, and living in harmony with the world. And I think we've done a good job lately of like asking God, like, what is life going to look like right now?
Mm-hmm.
Thy will, not mine, be done today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. I think that if there's an encouragement in here, what would you say, Vicky? What's your, what would be, yeah.
I think that's it. I think we can we can be gentle with ourselves, or like kind to ourselves, and just say like, I'm figuring this out. Like, I am changing, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. And I don't necessarily, I don't have to be full of shame or guilt about like how I've lived, but I can be patient with myself and just give myself space. I love that phrase of like, test the water, test the water. Like, usually I would do this, but I'm going to test the waters and try and do this instead, whatever that looks like for my own context of like, this has been the pattern in my family, in my life. I'm going to try this out now. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't work. Yeah. So I'll leave you with that thought today. Thanks for joining me.
Joining you, or what? Are we done now?
I think so. Our time is up. The director's giving me hand signals.
Oh no. Okay. My last thought, make recovery fun. It has to be
yes.
Stick with it.
What have you thought about what sounds fun for you this spring?
Me?
Yeah.
Obviously kayaking.
I've already
spending time outside. Beach days and kayaking and getting out, and I'm gonna start running again.
Yay!
Mm.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks. All right, guys.
Have a great day. Will I see you tomorrow morning again? You want to join me all week?
Probably. I think the director is just wanting to be the director right now.
Yeah, he needs to rest this week.
Yeah.
He can rest well when he needs to rest. So this week he is going to rest well.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for joining me.
All right. Nice to see you this way. Bye, everyone. Good to see everyone.